ahead and hit the share button and invite some other Ambazonians who do not know I am here now to join the broadcast. I am very excited about this broadcast. I want to believe that by the time I leave, some of you would have been stirred up and resolved more than ever before to keep on fighting, to keep on believing in this revolution, in the struggle for the liberation, for the freedom of Ambazonia. I can assure you that we will make it there. We will make it there. We have no choice. We have no option. If we have ever been determined here at the interim government to prosecute this war, this is that moment. When challenges show up, we confront them head on. La Republic has been trying to pull some fast ones on us. But one thing I can say is that they have tried. I think they have pulled out every card of theirs already. Unfortunately, none has worked. And none is not going to work. We have no choice but to prosecute this war to the last man standing. To Boya is our trophy. No choice, no option. Now, a number of things I'm going to discuss, I'm going to do today, which I want to share with you. I'm going to be talking, this is going to be impromptu today. And so I'm going to be talking about a number of things here. I have not been live for quite a while now. Now, before I go ahead, some of you know or have been reading all the nonsensical pieces out there about some investigation on yours truly. I want you to know that we are not intimidated. This interim government is not intimidated by any ploys by French Cameroon and their agents to intimidate us and get us to submission. You have seen these investigation pieces out there. I saw some two this morning addressed to the police commissioner in Manchester, New Hampshire, and one to the police commissioner in Boston, Massachusetts, asking for them to investigate yours truly. Now, I just want to hope that those guys are watching at me right now, the guys at Insalai Law Firm. I hope you are watching. If you are not watching, I hope your reporters are watching. My prayer for you is that you will not only end at investigations, that at least you will get to the law court with your accusations. I can't wait to get to the law court with you. If you think you have a case against Ambazonia, against Chris Anu, against any other person else fighting for this revolution, let's get to the court and let's see how it doesn't become a trial on La République du Cameroon. Whatever case that you take to court here in the United States will turn into public trial of the genocide, of the atrocities. Now, have you forgotten that one of your parliamentarians in La République du Cameroon asked that the American ambassador in Cameroon should be killed? That is what one of your parliamentarians said. I can't wait to get in court with you. Please make sure your writings do not end in investigations only. Make sure they end in court. But the message is that we will never, ever be intimidated. We are in with both of our legs for this revolution and this struggle. And we will fight. Even if we are locked up, we will fight from jail. We will fight from behind bars. But let you know, I want you to know, and your regime in Yaoundé to know, nothing is going to deter Chris Anu, this interim government, from standing and fighting to the end for the freedom for the country called Amazonia. Ladies and gentlemen, keep on hitting your button. Again, I am going to be speaking on a number of subjects today. I shall be talking on the lockdown, as you know, the 14 days lockdown coming up very soon in a matter of a week. I shall also be talking about the conclave that has been organized by some stakeholders, Amazonians. I shall be talking about our forces, security issues for our forces on ground zero, and a host of other things. I also want to remind you that I know some people have been questioning what is happening with ABC. ABC on ground zero specifically. ABC has been in a transitional period. We have been removing equipment and studio from across continent to another continent, and you can imagine that once you are moving equipment, there is no way you can broadcast while equipment is in transition. But I think as of now that I speak, I come to you, ABC should be back up and running on ground zero. If it is not up right now as I speak running, it should be up before it is done on ground zero. So thank you for your understanding. And I also like to clarify one other thing. There was a post online that was suggesting that ABC is partnering with some other television called GCTV to broadcast on ground zero. That is absolutely not true. We were never consulted before that thing was put up online. We are not discussing or talking alliances with anybody. ABC remains an independent television for the Federal Republic of Amazonia, owned by you, the people of Amazonia. Nobody will steadily go behind and create some alliances, not even alliances with French Cameroon in that matter. So please ignore all the rumor and distractions and detractors that we have out there with information like that. We have not gone into any negotiation nor contacted anybody for any negotiations to partner with for ABC. We have not. Thank you for taking that news. I'd like to know, those of you who are here, before I go on to bringing you some of these stories. Jordan Anye, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. I also see Gladys Freeman, thank you for joining. I see also God is with us, Emmanuel. Thank you, Emmanuel. Thank you, sir. Nelly Neil, I see you. I see Banky Thomas. I see you. Sheila Shiaka. Your last name is a little bit quite difficult to pronounce there. Ladies and gentlemen, hit your share button. We are getting the target. Less than 200 people to join before I bring you the presentation. Just less than 200 people. So go ahead as you join. Hit the share button. I have very, very important clarifications to bring to you today. And we would love as many people as possible to get that news. Pauline Lowman, I see you. I see also Abdul Maikano. Thank you for joining, sir. Mojoko Platform, thank you for joining, sir. Mume Indaga, Napoleon, you are always here. Thank you for joining. Dora Ann, see you. NS Asoba, and Castro Lebistrano, another favorite on the platform. Ochiba Achundo, see you, sir. Rado Abara, I missed that one. Ransoma Natuma, see you too. Giovanni Roy, say hello, sir. Thank you for joining. Meg Atang, good to see you. Alejandro Ladesma, always see you here too. Glad this stream I mentioned before. Rick in your server, thank you for joining. Christopher Messner, I see you, sir. Prisco Chabajong, that is my little cousin there. God you go, I see you. Amote Palacunia, thank you for joining. Hit your share button. Hit your share button. Less than 150 to go until I bring you this presentation. Please do so. Amber must win. Thank you for joining. I see Kisitu somebody. I miss the last name. Talbot Theodore, always here also. Don Pedro, thank you for joining. Pierre Brian, I see you. Asa Tembi Thomas, thank you. Israel Ijele, thank you. Mike Terry Asa, thank you. Now, one thing I'm going to do, I shall be taking a few phone calls at the end of this presentation, particularly about this conclave or convention thing that some Ambazonians are putting together. After the presentation that I bring to you, I will take a few questions. I will open the phone line, take a few questions, and if you ask a good question, I take it and I answer it. If you are rude and have no respect, like I see some would do, of course, I will not entertain wasting time to take such calls. So I expect that when you pick the phone to ask a question, you're going to be very cordial and ask a responsible, meaningful question. So if you are lucky to be one of those, I take the questions. You are blessed. Mike Terry, thank you for joining. Please hit the share button. 100 people, only 100 people to go. Hit your share button, invite those who have not joined yet. Please, less than 100 to go. Less than 100 to go. And again, let me remind you that ABC should be running right now on ground zero. ABC has been in a transition through the continents, but I'm believing that by now the technicians would have given the go-ahead for it to go back up running on ground zero. So please, thank you, ground zero, for your patience to allow us do this, do the transfer. Give us your feedback. Let's know that the quality is good as usual. And we are also going to be resuming with news broadcasts on ABC as usual. The news team is being put together, and in the near future, very near future, you shall have a daily news presentation on ABC. So we are looking out for you, and we are prepared to educate you. In the meantime, we are also looking for people who can do presentations. If you have the ability and the equipment to present educative or entertaining shows, you are more than welcome to contact us at contact at ambazoniagolf.org. Contact at ambazoniagolf.org. We're looking for volunteers. We're looking for content providers, good documentaries, good information that you judge can be broadcast. You are welcome. Send me an email at contact at ambazoniagolf.org. Contact at ambazoniagolf.org. All right. Less than 60 people to go. I must hit that 1,000 mark before I come to you. So please hit your share button. Patricia, I see you. I see also the British Cameroon's problem, whoever that is. I see Ojonga Kabum Michelle. Thank you for joining. Pekins Nelly, I see you. Eni Remy, I see you. Abumo Charles, always here. My capable secretary, Comfort, I see you, ma'am. Logan Kizito, thank you for joining, sir. I see also Amber Wata Nawata. Wow, you are welcome, sir. I see also Kisito Bongcho. less than 50 people to go hit your share button. Now, while you do that, I want to bring you one very important acknowledgement that we have discovered here coming from La République du Cameroon. You must have been hearing of some talks about decentralization, which is the form of government that Mr. Biya and his cronies think they can impose upon Ambazonians and get us to give up the struggle and the fight for an independent Southern Cameroon. Mr. Biya has again and again and again talked about decentralization. He hasn't come out to spell what form of decentralization that decentralization is going to take. But let me tell you what we know, what we have learned. A meeting took place very recently in La République du Cameroon, and this is what they discussed. You know, they have also announced some council and parliamentary elections and so on and so forth. The SDF has said until Mr. Biya sits down and dialogue with Ambazonians that they are not going to go in for any elections. That is a whole different subject on its own. And but Mr. Biya, they had a meeting in La République du Cameroon a few days ago, just last week. And this is what was discussed. This is what La République du Cameroon is about to do. And remember, La République du Cameroon is putting this thing together right now, between now and the month of March, to placate the international community that has put tremendous pressure on them. They want to fool the international community to believing that they are indeed preferring solutions to the conflict. And so they have announced council elections and parliamentary elections. But this is what Mr. Biya is going to do, as we have learned from a meeting that took place just last week in Yaoundé. This is what they discussed. Their plan, knowing that no elections are taking place in the Southern Cameroons. What Mr. Biya plans to do. Now remember, again, he is creating what he calls decentralization. Whatever it means, he means by that. But in his definition of decentralization, there is going to be regional, I'm using their own language right now. They call their provinces or states regions. So they are creating these regional councils. The councils will serve like a senate or like a parliament in the region. Now, understanding that, there will be nobody, especially in Ambazonia, to go out and vote and elect those parliamentarians or senators. What Mr. Biya has planned is to have current councillors who have not been elected, whose mandate was extended, to vote. They will be the ones to vote who those regional councillors or senators or parliament will be. So in other words, there isn't going to be any universal suffrage in the election of who becomes a regional parliamentarian or senator in these regions. So essentially, all the councillors and mayors who are appointees of Mr. Biya in all the regions are the ones to elect who becomes a senator, who becomes a parliamentarian in these regional houses of assembly. Now, we should not forget that in Mr. Biya's definition of decentralization, he will still have the right to appoint governors. He will still have the right to appoint SDOs and DOs. he will still be the all and all. And so, all that he is doing in the name of decentralization and trying to placate the international community that he is taking some power away from the center is all hookwash. And I say this to say, Ambazonians, don't be deceived. I am very, very, very worried. I am worried that Mr. Biya may dish out any nonsense and put out there, and there are Ambazonians who will jump onto it, who will jump and seize it. Ladies and gentlemen, we have lost so many of us, men, women, children, property, businesses, in this struggle, not to end up with a decentralized government, not to end up, not even federation. None of these is on the table. We have to make up our minds. We have no option for an independent Southern Cameroons and Ambazonia. And so we should be ready to tell Mr. Biya, keep your decentralization in your country, not in Ambazonia. We are working for our own country, and we will get there. We will get there, no matter how difficult the road may be. And let me say something about the SDF position not to go for any elections of French Cameroon. Ladies and gentlemen, the SDF failed us in this struggle from day number one. If the SDF thinks that they can now come out and tell us they are not going for elections and that we should be dancing, they are fooling themselves. If the SDF had asked their parliamentarians to withdraw from parliament, all the Ambazonian parliamentarians in their party in parliament to withdraw, this revolution would have taken a different phase, a different turn. If the SDF is serious, let them withdraw their parliamentarians and sit down and refuse to go to Yaoundé and identify with this revolution, stand behind this revolution. We will for once take them seriously. But to come out now and say you are not going out for election is because you know you are losers. You cannot even win a seat in any of the councils, not even in the city of Bamenda. That is your stronghold. The SDF cannot win a council seat in Bamenda today. And now they are trying to play smart in coming out to tell people we are not going out for an election. SDF, if you are serious, ask your parliamentarians and senators to leave Yaoundé. Ask Joshua Osi to leave Fekafood. That is a foreign country. I hope this message makes sense. So, fellow Ambazonians, let's not be stupid and buy some cosmetic redresses that both the Biya regime and the SDF, they're trying to put out there. It doesn't help in any way. Absolutely not. All right. Thank you very much again for joining. Let me take you into this program proper. Again, this is an impromptu. I'm just bringing you the points as they are. And again, at the end of this broadcast, I will take 2 or 3 or 4 questions. I will open the phone line. The first to call, you ask the question. Let me start with the lockdown. Now, everybody has heard of the lockdown, which is coming up on February the 4th, February the 5th through the 14th. February the 5th through the 14th. Some people are wondering why we are locking down. We are locking down for a number of reasons. Number one, February the 7th is the day our leaders, Sisiko Julius Ayoktabe, and the rest of his cabinet are going back to the court, the colonial court in La République du Cameroon. We are honoring them, demonstrating to them that we stand with them, that our support for them remains unflinching, by staying home, shutting down everything. Not even an ant would have to move. From the Mongo to Nkambe, Donga Mantung, nothing in Ambazonia would have to move. Nothing crosses the Mongo into Fako, and nothing crosses Matazam into Santa or Bamenda, beginning February the 5th. We are honoring our leaders and getting the international community to realize that until we get them out of jail, no solution to this conflict is going to please us. And so that is one of the reasons for this lockdown. It is starting on the 5th, just to make sure no attempt by La République du Cameroon to sabotage it succeed. So please, if you are wise, especially those of you on ground zero, if you are wise, please follow the instructions that you have heard from the generals on the ground and the instructions you are hearing from this interim government at this moment. It is a serious lockdown. Not even Patrick Ekema's office will be open. No, absolutely not. Nothing. He can keep those taxis for as long as he wants. None of those taxis driver is going to succumb to his pressure, not even to the pressure coming from Yaoundé. And so we are reminding every councillor in the city of Boya, including Patrick Ekema, including Bilai, the governor, that not even their own offices shall be open beginning February the 5th through the 14th in Boya, all the way up to the northern zone. So please, buy food, keep food in your home, and get ready for those days. Then on the 11th, the so-called 11th February, the so-called 11th February, please, we are shutting our country down. Also on that day, it's a terrible day. It's a day that we do not want to remember in the history of the Southern Cameroons. Let us once more tell La République du Cameroon, we have the destiny of our future, and we have our future, our destiny in our hands. We have control over our territory and our own destiny. By shutting down again on February the 15th. Then they also have their mountain race that is coming up. We don't know the date yet until they announce it. So after the 14th, we may also be shutting it down another day inside the same month. We don't know when their mountain race is coming up, but expect that to happen too. There is nothing like mountain race coming up in Boya, not this year. That can only happen by the time we are finally in Boya. But for now, we thank all the sponsors who are sponsoring it. But please, you do not want to squander your resources by sponsoring an event that will not be. So if you are wise, stay away from the mountain race, because please, it has been banned. It is not going to happen. So Ambazonians, especially you in the city of Boya, Fako, Fako as a whole, from Victoria to Moyoka, please, there will be no mountain race. And again, there will be a shutdown to tell La République du Cameroon, we are in charge. We are in charge. And we want to remind you, let me address our restoration forces right now. We want to appreciate you for all that you do. Without you, this revolution will be nowhere today. Without you, Mr. Biya will not be shivering as he is shivering today. Without you, Mr. Biya will not be under the pressure that he finds himself today. We congratulate you. We praise you. And on behalf of this entire interim government of Ambazonia, I want you to know we care for you. We care about you. And we want you to remain safe, protected. We want you to be there on that day when we all reunite in Boya to sing our national anthem and to raise our flag. So please, the message that we have for you is to make sure that first of all, number one, that your security is considered the number one thing that you must protect. Your own security. And what does it mean by protecting your security? It means that all these videos that you send outside, please, if you really care about yourself, stop taking those videos and putting on the social media. They are exposing you. They are exposing your whereabouts. You are inviting a lot of people to come around, to come to your hiding and destroy you. Number two, photographs. Stop sending them out. It is very easy in photographs of today for an enemy to take it and get it to the lab to find out exactly where the spot on which those photos were taken. So please stop sending out these photographs and videos. Whatever you want to do it in secret. La République du Cameroon does not announce when they are coming out to bomb your locations. They do not announce when they are coming out to burn our homes, our villages. So let us employ wisdom. Wisdom, they call them, say, common sense. Employ common sense whenever you are considering doing a video. And let me say one thing as a piece of advice. If you must do a video, take it away from your hideout. Take it kilometers away from your hideout. Take it somewhere else. Do the video there, so that even if they go there, they won't find you. But do not stay in your camps and your permanent locations and begin to do videos and take photographs and put out on the social media. You are not protecting yourselves. So please, I thought I should bring this to you, but I want to appreciate you for the great job you are doing. I want to appreciate you for the unity and collaboration in coming together to discuss with the ASC and the interim government and agreeing on this lockdown. I know some people were talking about lockdown for the whole month. No, because we were able to sit down as a team. We ironed this out, and can hear your voices out there telling everybody to respect the 5th to the 14th of February for this lockdown. That is how it should be. That is how a government operates, collaborating with its stakeholders. Again, I want to thank you, all of you, the commanders on Ground Zero, for that wonderful collaboration from you. And I want to say one more thing about these ghost towns. I have heard some people come on the social media and asking our people, Ambazonians, to go out on the 26th and fraternize with a ghost town which is being called for by Mr. Maurice Kamto's team. Now, I like to say this. We have been conducting lockdowns, ghost towns in our territory every Monday of the week. I do not think that is the right thing to do, to punish our people, to say, join Maurice Kamto on Saturday after they have observed it on Monday. I do not think it is the right thing to do, to ask Ambazonians to go out after observing Monday to go and observe or lock down again on Saturday. We are not supporting that. We are not supporting that. And so, and by the way, what does a ghost town, a lockdown on Saturday achieve? A lockdown on Saturday does not achieve anything. So when they go about putting a ghost town for Saturday, who are they punishing? They are not punishing La République du Cameroon. They are punishing the people, the business community. If they are serious, if Kamto's team is serious, I think they should consider a ghost town on a Monday, a work day that affects the government institutions. You cannot put a ghost town in Saturday to punish only the citizens. If a ghost town should be worthwhile, it should be implemented on a work day so that every government office is locked down. So, if Mr. Kamto and his team will consider a ghost town for a Monday, we'll be more than glad to encourage every Ambazonian to join that ghost town. But for a Saturday, we say no. We will not punish our people on Monday and punish them on Saturday. That is the position of this interim government. We will not back that ghost town of February the 26th called for by Kamto's team. And if I may ask, do we really think if Mr. Kamto were to take office tomorrow, if he were to take office tomorrow, would he say Ambazonians supported me and took to the streets with me and shut down with me, and so you guys can go, you can go. Do you think he will do that? No. We know his stance as far as this struggle is concerned. He has said it. He said it to Mimi Mefo in the pre-election interview that there will never be cessation. So we are not right now going to join him for a Saturday rally. Should he call a rally or a shutdown or a ghost town that holds on a Monday, we will be more than ready to join him to participate in that shutdown. I hope that makes sense to you. All right. Again, I like to now go to this subject of the APNC. The APNC subject, ladies and gentlemen. Some of you must have heard that the interim government has refused or is refusing to listen to the voices of some other stakeholders in this revolution. Nothing can be farther from the truth. You have all heard of these organizers of this, either they call it a conclave, or they call it a convention, they call it a conference, whatever name that is given to it. You have all heard about that. Some people have been saying, oh, the interim government has been so slow to talk about it. The interim government has been so slow to respond to it. We are a government. The government is not an activist who can jump to the microphone and say anything and give any opinion as he wants. We have to sit down, discuss issues, and look into it in and out before we can step out and make a position known. And so we have not been slow. We have been very, very, very much on top of the situation. An invitation addressed or written on December the 6th was sent to cabinet, addressed to acting President Dr. Sako, asking cabinet to send 2 people to join the planning committee of this conclave or conference. Again, that was December the 6th. That letter was never forwarded to the president. It was not forwarded to anybody in the cabinet. We did not receive a letter until we started getting or hearing of allegations of a letter on the social media. And so the chief of staff reached out to the organizers of the conference and said, hey, did you say you sent us a letter? We have not seen one. We have not received one. And so they now forwarded it again to the chief of staff, to the chief of staff through to the president, acting president. And so the letter basically contained two things. Number one, inviting or asking for cabinet to send 2 people to join the planning committee of this conference. Number 2, the letter also informed cabinet and the acting president that country heads have now turned itself or themselves into a parliament, the parliament of the people. And indeed, the letter that was forwarded to the acting president was, carried the letterhead of one parliament or one parliament of the people. You're right, one parliament of the people, signed by its president. The president, contrary to a lot of opinion out there, or neither the cabinet, refused. They did not refuse. Cabinet did not refuse. The president did not refuse to meet with the organizers of this conference. The president, on the 4th, he received the correspondence on the 3rd, and on the 4th, he sent out a reply to the organizers of the conference and basically suggested that number 1, the cabinet would like to have an opportunity to sit down to listen to the organizers to know exactly what this conference is all about. Because essentially what the letter that was forwarded to the cabinet through the president said was, we are asking you, now mind my words, asking you. It wasn't a suggestion. They were basically asking or demanding that cabinet sends 2 representatives to sit with the organizing committee that has already been meeting for more than a month to discuss this, to plan this. So the letter asked for those 2 people to join them. And so when the acting president replied, he said, we would like to sit down with you to know what this meeting is all about. We are waiting to hear from you as to when you want this meeting to hold. Secondly, the acting president also indicated that I do not know. We would like you to explain to cabinet or to the executive what this parliament is all about. When was it formed? Who are those that constitute members of parliament, and how were they put in place? So a letter was constituted. I actually have it here. In fact, let me read some portions of what the organizers of that conference wrote to cabinet through the president. It reads, to this regard, we wish to inform the cabinet that the House of Country and Regional Representatives serving as revolutionary vanguards have critically analyzed calls from different revolutionary stakeholders for an unbiased, representative, and inclusive meeting of the Amazonian people and leadership. He said they held several meetings. Listen to that. They held several meetings, seen the business case and preliminary SWOT analysis done by a formation of civil society activists, technical working committee, and agree with the different constituencies that the urgency of now calls for an urgent holding of an all-inclusive collaborative meeting which we have called Ambazonia People's Convention, APNC, at a venue and on a date to be collectively agreed. Now, the letter goes on there to say, we look forward to your support. Now, it doesn't say we look forward to your engagement. It says we look forward to your support through the nomination of 2 delegates, where possible, by the 7th of December 2018. Now, this letter again was written on the 6th of December. They are asking Cabinet, the President, the Acting President, to send 2 representatives to sit down with them 2 days after, on the 9th. Then, but it is stated here, we look forward to your support through the nomination of 2 delegates where possible by day 7. They are asking the Cabinet to nominate 2 delegates by the 7th. And then by the 9th, the 2 delegates should meet with the organizers. The letter is written again on the 6th. The Cabinet is asked to nominate 2 delegates latest on the 7th, that is the following day. And then a day after, on the 9th, the 2 delegates are compelled to meet with the organizers of this conference. Now, you would think that if the intentions were good, the organizers of this convention, as they call it, would meet with Cabinet or would meet with the Acting President and say, hey, we have an idea, and we think that as an arm of the IG, we should all sit down and take a look and see how we can plan this. No, it did not happen that way. The planning was done from behind. An agenda set before an invitation, an agenda set and committees set before this invitation sent to the Cabinet to release 2 people the next day to join them. How can Cabinet release 2 people the next day without having an opportunity to sit down and hear from them what this thing is all about? That is problem number 1 in the planning of that convention. Now, I am saying this, I'm saying this to say this. We do not want any person to be misunderstood. The interim government is the government of the people. The interim government represents every single Ambazonian, whether you are for it or against it, whether you are an independentist or federalist or unionist. As far as this revolution is concerned, when we get to Boya, the government represents everybody, whether you believe in it or not. And so we are bound to listen to every Ambazonian. And so the idea that the interim government rejected, does not want to listen, does not want to cooperate, no, it is just blackmail. It is not correct. It is not right. If you believe that you have a government, you would agree with me that the government has to approach certain things systematically, not set anarchy or chaos in the way things are done. We had expected, the interim government had expected that the planners or the initiators of this convention, which we don't know up to today, would step out, approach the interim government and say to the interim government that we have an idea which we think can best project this revolution. Let's discuss about it. Let's have a meeting. Let's discuss about it. One thing that I should explain to you, ladies and gentlemen, is this. The cabinet, the president, the acting president meet the country heads to answer their questions, their concerns, anytime they call, in conference call. The communication secretary, yours truly, have answered the calls of country heads to answer their questions at any moment, anytime they call. And you will suppose that when they are planning a convention, an important conference as they believe it is, like this one, they would simply call again either the president or maybe the communications secretary or maybe the chief of staff to discuss these things with. No, nobody was invited. Not even the Restoration Council. Of course, they can speak for themselves. Not even the Restoration Council was invited into this. But this is the point. The president did not ignore them. The acting president did not ignore their letters or their invitations. The acting president wrote to them and replied and said, please, number one, we already scheduled a similar conference in the month of February. The AASC, All Ambazonian Stakeholders Consultative Conference, which is supposed to be coming up in the month of February. The only reason why the date for that conference has not been announced is because all the local government coordinators who should be participating in that conference have not yet been constituted. Once we have half of those local government coordinators constituted, expect the date for that conference to be announced. And you will bear witness with me that this conference AASC was not announced yesterday. The president did not announce it on December 31st. I remember putting that agenda here in one of my outings. I have the videos out there on the social media. You go there, you research, you will realize I had announced that meeting, I think early in December or November, when the LGA's organization started. So the president has written to the organizers of this conference and they said, we are already scheduled to hold a similar conference involving all the stakeholders of the revolution into that conference. The stakeholders include all the local government administrators, all the country heads, all the Restoration Council members, all of cabinet, and other important statesmen out there. The president put this agenda to them. So two things. Please clarify us who this parliament is. When was it formed? How was it formed? And number two, we already have a conference schedule. Can you reconsider your plans? Maybe we could do this together. This is in the message. What I'm telling you is in the message that the acting president sent back or replied back to the organizers of that convention. Ladies and gentlemen, as I speak to you today, the interim government, the acting president, has not as much as received a reply. The president sent a letter to them on the 4th of January. On the 4th of January. Today is the 22nd of January. And there has been no reply to that letter. And so, for anybody to think that the interim government should have rushed out and start talking about this without waiting to hear from the organizers of this conference, absolutely not correct, not right. We had to wait to hear what they say, to get a reply from them. And again, by now, we have not heard a reply from them. And the reason I had to come out today to explain to you is because the country heads, which are supposed to be the people behind this convention, they have just issued a disclaimer to that convention, distancing themselves and saying they were fooled in the conception and organization of that convention. And I am going to read the letter, that the disclaimer that the country heads, a good number of country heads, have put out today. I will read it to you before I leave. But I want to add a few more points before I get to that letter. One of the reasons why the interim government or the cabinet or the president, acting president, would not endorse a parliament, so-called of the people. Just imagine, most of those who constitute the country heads, most of the majority were appointed, some were elected some nominated, some appointed. When you look at the constitution of country heads or country coordinators, you realize that 80% of them or 70% are from a single zone. They come from a single zone, maybe the northern zone or the southern zone. And then you allow them to turn themselves overnight into parliament. And then Ambazonians come to find out that their parliament is made up of 80% of people from one zone. What are you going to think of this interim government? Tell me. What are you going to think about us? That we have abandoned one other zone and go and pick one other zone to load parliament with? That is one of the reasons why the interim government has said we cannot recognize this parliament, because it is so unbalanced. If there should be a parliament, if it should be in the first place, you will agree with me that local government coordinators would constitute a better parliament because they actually represent their communities. They represent their counties. They represent their local government areas. They are actually elected, not nominated, not appointed. They represent their people. So, ladies and gentlemen, the IG is still waiting to get a response of the letter sent to the organizers of the conference back. Until they do that, I have come today to explain to you the position of the IG, that we are not endorsing that convention or conclave or conference, whatever it is called. The IG, it will not endorse it. We don't know who is behind it. We don't know the agenda of the meeting. If any meeting should hold involving the IG should be on the table, should be seated on the table as one of the planners. That has not been the case. Again, and besides, the IG has previously scheduled a similar conference to take place. Many people are talking about restructuring. The IG is not afraid of restructuring. In fact, one of the goals of the APNC conference being scheduled for February after the local government administrators are constituted is to see how the government can be restructured for it to work better. But we do not want people enforcing an agenda of their own on the people. This is a government and things have to be done systematically. Now, I want to read to you the letter of disclaimer that I just received before coming online from country heads. All right. Now again, this is a press release that just came in from the majority of country heads who make up that forum of country coordinators. This is their letter, which just came out a few minutes ago in regards to this APNC convention. It reads, European Executive Board disclaimer. The House of Country and Regional Coordinators, not regional representatives, regional coordinators, has not endorsed the convening of the Ambazonia People's National Convention, APNC. Dear Ambazonians, revolutionary greetings to you all. This message comes to you after very careful and diligent deliberations in our European Country Coordinators Executive meeting held on Monday, the 21st of January 2019. We want to make it categorically clear that the idea of the APNC did not originate from the country coordinators or House of Country and Regional Representatives. We debunk in the strongest terms the use of our name to propagate a convention which was initially presented to us deceitfully as a convention to bring all stakeholders as a convention to bring all stakeholders of the revolution together to forge a way forward. However, we believe that the package presented to us is different from the real plans. The whole European country coordinators executive body is not in support of the APNC. We have nothing against Ambazonians genuinely gathering together with honest intentions of moving the revolution forward. However, where there is lack of transparency, there is need for us to pause and to take stock of recent developments. Therefore, we would respectfully request the following. Number 1, a termination in the association of our name, country coordinators, with the convening of the APNC. Number 2, that the real initiators or organizers of APNC come out with a detailed agenda of the conference. Number 3, that the real architects behind the APNC put a hold on the conference and clarify Ambazonians first with the objectives, source of funding, and plans to achieve. Number 4, that for the interest of the struggle, the already unstable unity, the watching eyes of the international community, the little achievements we have made, and most importantly, the safety of our leaders in detention, the APNC should be submitted to the Ambazonian people for validation before proceeding with its organization, so as to guarantee stability and continuity before, during, and after the conference. The letter continues, we advise all Ambazonians to engage fully in supporting the struggle against our enemy, who is the Republic du Cameroon, while keeping in mind that unity is our only aim to success. We thank you all for your resilience, understanding, and continuous efforts in supporting our revolution under the leadership of the People's Interim Government. Short live the struggle, long live Ambazonia. God bless Ambazonia. Again, this is coming from all of the country heads or country coordinators in the European Union and part of USA. From my understanding, there are about 65 signatories. 65 signatories to this document that I just read to you. So this is the position coming from a majority of country coordinators. Again, they have said they don't know who the initiators, the originators of this convention are, and are calling for it to be put on hold until the motive of it is brought on table. So, with all of that, I want to say that is the position of this interim government on the APNC for now. The IG is not endorsing it. is not engaging in it until we hear back from the organizers as to what this parliament is all about, and as to why the organizers of that conference cannot join with the government to work together towards a similar conference that had already been organized for February. I mean, all the country coordinators have been invited to take part, to participate in that meeting. So please, we do not want any misrepresentation, any misunderstanding out there. The IG is not opposed to what others are planning. And even after this, let me say this, even with our position, the IG has no powers to stop any Ambazonian from holding or coming together to discuss this revolution. Absolutely not. The fact that the IG does not endorse it doesn't mean they cannot still go ahead and hold their convention. But we're basically saying that using the name of the IG to promote this meeting is just not right, because we have not been properly consulted. And also the idea that people from Ground Zero and the leaders from prison have endorsed the idea of a conclave or convention, that is also not true. Please, Sisiko is not aware of this thing. He has not endorsed it. Sisiko does not say anything from behind bars. None of them has the capability to say anything, to pass out any message from behind bars. So if you are fooled or meant to believe that Sisiko has endorsed and the cabinet from prison, from Ground Zero, have endorsed this conclave, you are being lied to. This is our position. I will take 1 minute to get my phone ready. Give me one or two minutes to get the phone ready. My phone shut down, so I couldn't take calls right away. But give me 1 or 2 minutes, and I will be right back to take a few phone calls from you. So please, do not touch your remote. Stay tuned.
Mada Paksa Sagana, never net on Wako. Abana, you are to a Makani. I was on the Mato Makani. What was it to a Makani? Abana come over and to Makani. Johnson, well. Johnson, well, Johnson, well, you are on the corner of the area. Johnson, well, Johnson, well, Johnson, well, Johnson, well, but you are on the corner of the area. Johnson, well, but you are on the corner of the area. Johnson, well, you are on the corner of the area. Johnson, well, but you are on the Mimi batutaka ajo men petit 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 Johnson weo Johnson weo Johnson weo majalo ne kodo Johnson weo Johnson weo Johnson weo Johnson weo majalo ne kodo Johnson majalo ne kodo Johnson weo
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am back, and as promised, I am going to take a few questions from you before I leave. I will open the phone line, and again, I want to caution you: be mature and responsible in the questions that you ask. I will not answer any question that is asked with disrespect and rude. So please, the phone number is 603 682 2687. Again, the phone number is 603 682 2687. I will take a few of your questions and do my best to answer them before I go. So the phone line is open. Call that number if you've got a question that should be answered. And please, your question must be restricted to either the lockdown or the convention question. Do not ask a question on any other subject. Ask it relating to the lockdown, or the APNC. Thank you. I will take the very first question from this caller here. Hello, sir.
From Los Angeles.
Thank you for.
I have a question. We'll be hearing about the conference. We'll be hearing about people planning to do the complex and whatsoever. And we have also come to the understanding that some of those people who are involved in the organization are those who were suspended by the IG, that they failed to respond to the team of investigators in relation to the abduction of our leaders. So I want to know if IG is ready to listen to someone who was suspended or someone who failed to respect the rules and norms of our society, because that one I don't think it is really fair right now. Or maybe IG I uplifted the suspension.
All right, thank you. I think I got your question. I will you will hold so that I can answer the question and then go to other calls, please. I'm sure all of you out there, you got the question whether the IG would be prone to listening to people who had been suspended from the IG in the past, who are said to be organizers of this conference. Now, I want to make it very, very clear. We are not distancing, the IG is not distancing itself from the conference based on who is organizing it. You heard me said that it is said, according to the letterhead that we receive, the invitation we receive, the meeting is being organized or sponsored by some parliament that we do not know yet. That is the IG's only point of contention. We do not know this parliament. We don't know when it was formed. We don't know what its activities are. And remember, the second point is that we are asking the organizers if they are indeed members of the members of country heads and coordinators. If they are, we are asking them, why not consider joining us? Let's work together, towards this other conference that we had already announced before they went about talking about the APNC. So we are not particular about who is doing this, whether they were suspended or not suspended. We are particular about protocol, who is doing it as far as this parliament thing is concerned, and the chances of they considering coming to work with us together. Thank you for the question. I would like to take orders too. The line is open, please. Again, the number is 603 682 2687. The number is 603 682 2687. If there is no call, I assume that everybody is satisfied with this presentation. If there is no other phone call, I want to assume that everybody watching and listening to me is satisfied with this presentation. And so going forward, we would not want to talk about the APNC conclave or convention until we have heard from the organizers, know their agenda, and as the country's coordinators have put it, know who is funding this conference. If anybody in the IG, in the interim government is organizing a conference, you would want to believe that the first place they run to for sponsorship would be the interim government. But no, we have not received, of course, that appeal for sponsorship, talk less of invitation to sit on the table and do the planning. So, again, I give the number one more time, is 603 682 2687. If you don't get a phone call, I leave satisfied that this made sense to you. Again, let's remember the lockdown starting February the 5th through February the 14th. We are appealing again to our restoration forces to be very, very vigilant. La Republique is having a lot of technology hanging around the communities in Ambazonia to track you down. Don't go out carelessly. Don't go out for any invitations you do not know. Take care of yourself. Protect yourself first before going out to protect others or to fight. If you really should not go out, don't go out. We want to appreciate you because there is something that we have observed, that finally, kidnappers and ransom takers are being picked up. We want to thank that task force that is out doing that. Now remember, the interim government is putting together a federal marshal that shall be out. You will not know them. When it is there, you will not, nobody will know them, but you shall see their actions. The federal marshal will be out there by the end of this month to take care of people that want to be detractors and distractors in this revolution on ground zero. People who are engaging in this kidnapping and ransom taking, that will be the job of our federal marshals. Thank you for tuning in. Again, there is no question. I want to go. I want to thank you, appreciate you, and again, trust me when I say we are not intimidated by any lawsuit. We are not intimidated by any investigations, be it the FBI or whatever, or the so-called Nsali law firm. We are stronger, more than ever before. I can't wait for them to bring the lawsuit so that we'll make it a theater, a trial for La République du Cameroon. You will have a great day and you will have a great night. See you very soon. God bless.
Felisa Bo Kitchen of Toronto, Canada. Ajo. Pastor Dini Omatisa. Pastor Dini Atisa. Budamani Atisa. Dini Atisa. Constant Dini Ati Mama. Better passion Dini Atisa. Veronica Dini Ati Mama. The voice of money. I'm not saying it. The department is I should have said this. I go to last Sadisa. Johnson, why? But you may be near this. Johnson, why? So I shall be near this. Johnson, why? Jonathan, near this. Johnson, why? Johnson, why? Jonathan, be near this. Open to open a this. Jonathan, be near this. Johnson, why? Jonathan, be near this. También viene a danzar. También viene a danzar. Paluca te la danza.